welcome to episode 28 of the Livewire Gaming Show on the week where Abandon still hasn't come out and Kev moved his desk again. This week we're going to talk about Destiny 2 Season of the Splicer. We got the final mission epilogue cutscene this week, so we'll talk about that and the implications that has, and how memey it is that they literally made a whole season to just get rid of the factions, but full spoilers for that. So yeah, we'll be chatting about Season of the Splicer. I've personally enjoyed it, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. How have you guys been this week, and what have you been up to? Before we start, I've done nothing this week because I've been fucking sick, so I've literally done nothing. So it's all about you guys this week. Stephen, what have you been doing?
I've been busy this week. Real life shit has decided to just come at me for everything for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So
do you know what the good thing about that is? That once you get that done with, it's over.
Oh no, there's other things going on as well, which I'm not saying to have video evidence of. But yeah, so lots of things are going on. So I haven't done much gaming. What I did do actually last week, I think it was the Saturday I texted you, Kev, seeing if you were jumping on for Final Fantasy 14.
And I was asleep.
You were asleep, yeah, you weren't around. So I jumped on and convinced, or for the first time in ever, jumped into the Discord of the free company that I'm in and started chatting to a few people. And one of them was like, oh, come on, we do the leveling, the daily roulette. I was like, oh, grand. So I went in as the healer. And oh my god, I do not know how to heal. Like, the things that I'm doing with you guys,
level compared
the things I'm doing with you guys, like, oh yeah, just heal here, like giving out the tanks, like, oh my god, and this, it was like, all the DPS died, the tank kept us going, I was dead, I was like, what is going on? They're messaging me going, you need to heal this and do that, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it was such a jump from, the level 16 dungeons to a level 47, and I was like, I have so many more abilities, there's so many extra things going on, and it was fucking chaos. So, if anyone is watching this who's a healer in Final Fantasy 14, show me your ways. I've fucking no idea. So
they have coaches for that, because I used to see it in WoW all the time. You'd see, like, you'd watch videos on builds and stuff like that on rotations, and then you'd be like, for one-to-one coaching, my Discord is blah blah blah, and it's like, you're not going for like a fucking major league tournament here, like to win a couple of grand. You're literally just playing it.
People do coaching for Pokemon Go Battle League tactics.
What?
Yes, I'm not even joking, because I kind of got into that a couple of seasons ago, just casually doing it, and I was looking up for what the best teams are, what are the meta teams for that season, and it was literally, this is what I'm using, blah blah blah. For one-to-one coaching, here's my email address, and they charge like 50 quid a session. Like, it's not cheap,
it's not as if
crazy.
It's like a fucking coffee. It's
so. Basically, if anyone needs any Vault of Glass one-to-one coaching, email address will be in the description below.
What's the charge?
1,000 bright dust. 1,000 silver, not bright dust. Well, it's all the same.
Yeah, so, no, thankfully someone in the free company said they'd show me how to heal properly as a grant.
Nice.
But fucking Jesus, like, it's so different from, oh, I'll just put a heal on the tank every so often, to everything's on fire constantly, and I've no idea, and I lost all my, like, I just freaked out. I lost all my button positions. I didn't know who to heal, how to heal, what was going on, and I was like, I just wish I was my Dragoon again. I just like stabbing things constantly. So yeah, so that's the one bit of gaming I got done, was that, and that was so stressful.
That's good though. Like, I know you've said it many times to us that you don't generally reach out, like, you wouldn't generally reach out and jump into a random group like that. That it's just not. Yeah. You're a bit introverted. Thank you, Stephen. You're very introverted like that. So the fact you did that's great. Like, it might have been stressful, but it's still good that you did it. And
probably won't be doing it again now. It's just like, oh shit, I showed myself up here.
No, but
yeah,
there's no shame in saying, I'm not as good at this as I thought I was. Can someone teach me?
Yeah, so I'll have to go and actually get taught now as the next part. But look, I don't mind that if someone more experienced shows me and I can be half decent. that's fine by me.
But that kind of shines with those kind of games in terms of like you can like you way you were doing it in what level 17 is it, the first dungeon or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, oh yeah, I can heal, I can do this, and then it's like you're unlocking more stages as your levels go up, which is great because it's not like, oh yeah, I've played this for a couple of hours, I've mastered it. Whereas you're seeing
Yeah.
like it completely opens up. Same with DPS, same with tank, same with
Yeah.
every class. Like
in the simplest way, it'd be like playing like the first strike of Destiny and then going, right, let's do a raid. And like you're not gonna have a fucking clue unless you have someone to say this is what you need to do and this is why we're doing it, and yeah, that's just the most simplest way to put it.
Yeah, and I think in Final Fantasy 14 they do a really good job of like you get your abilities every couple of levels and then you have a dungeon. So you're practicing them out in world mods and then you go and you're like, okay, that's how I do it in a dungeon. But for me, I went from level 17 dungeons to a 47 and it's like all just, it was insane. So it's exactly that. It's going from your first strike to doing VOG the next day. It was such a difference.
Final Fantasy does do that, like stuff. Yeah, like you have everything. Yeah, like I was looking at the list, the MSQ list, and how when the dungeons pop in, and it is like training wheels, two stabilizers, one stabilizer, and off you go.
Yeah.
And then a bigger bike, and then a unicycle, and then a unicycle on a rope over a fire pit
while it's on fire
and blindfolded
with one leg tied to your arse. But yeah, no, so that was and then obviously I jumped in and did the epilogue for Season of Splicer, which we'll talk about. But no, that was it for me.
Did you teabag Lakshmi?
I missed it. Do you know, like this is I'm like your man in what do you call it, in Rick and Morty, the assassin. I was like, oh boy, here I go killing again. Dropped in, so your gunshots, like, oh, here I go killing again. Just bolted it. I was like, and then afterwards I saw like Paul Tassi and all over, like, oh, here's 3 things you missed. And I was like, what did I miss? Like, oh,
Lakshmi, the friendly harpy. What was the third one?
Yeah. So it was Lakshmi, the harpy, and
wait, was Lakshmi's body in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the very start.
Right at the very beginning. In the room you start in, yeah.
What was the third one that I missed? I'll have to look it up again, I actually don't know.
Fair enough.
But no, that was it then. So, what about you, Kev? You never go. Oh, you said you did.
I've got the deal. I'll do a quick run through. I've done fuck all though.
Go on,
I
Dale.
have started back in work, so my gaming is plummeted drastically. I've been doing 8 hours and doing exams every day, so it's been tiring. I managed to jump on a couple of the evenings during the week for playing Miles Morales, just playing that as relaxing. Done the Master Raid with Kev and the gang in Vault of Glass, which Kev logged into my account and grinded me up that level throughout the day, which made a massive difference.
Can we tell the world why you were having such a hard time leveling up your account? Or should we just let that one slide?
No, we're not
have
letting that
mods
slide.
and shit on to fucking multiply my stuff, but that's not how I want to play the game. That's not how.
But the rest of the Ghost mods
I'm not
are
an
useless.
XP fucking farmer. I don't care about fucking mods like that.
Yeah, I have that on because it means you get your season pass done way quicker.
But I don't care about that. Like, that's something that gets done in the background. It's not my focal point. Isn't let's get this fucking XP above whatever level. Like, I don't look at that number. You know, I think when I was reading the XP bar out to you the other day was the first time I looked at it all season. And
I think you needed like 1.4 million XP. I think.
Same with playing Pokemon Go. It's like
one Grandmaster Nightfall. I literally got like 400 and something K.
Jeez.
I don't play the game for that. Like, it's all well and good that people do. Everyone plays games in different ways and for different achievements, but XP is an artificial number for me that I don't really give a shit about. So that's why I was underleveled.
That was like loser talk to me, if you ask.
What?
I mean, I got the Master Raid done. Did you?
He's got
that was like winning fact right there.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that.
But yeah, it was a drastically different experience for the sake of one level, and like I couldn't believe it. I was a bit apprehensive going in at first. The opening sequence, I was still getting hit a little bit, but that was more so Cyclops and stuff like that. But in terms of general frag enemies, it was fine, you know. But yeah, we got it done. We not struggled, but just tried to get the challenge done on gatekeepers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah,
only hindrance,
gatekeeper
but-
challenge is literally the hardest thing in the game right now. It's so like you need 4 people to be in perfect timing with each other, basically, and then 2 other people to be basically fighting by themselves to keep themselves alive. So it's a lot of moving parts. It's If one person,
Is that the?
but if one person messes up, it's just a wipe. You can't save
instant.
it. Yeah, it's when you have to kill the gate. So you know when you go to Mars and Venus, and you have the confluxes there, and one spawns a shielded Praetorian, and one spawns a Wyvern. Well, challenge mode for Gatekeeper is you have to kill those 2 within a couple of seconds of each other. So it means that whoever has the relic has to go in, position themselves and say, right, Praetorian's ready, and the Wyvern person has to have weakened the Wyvern, and then they have to kill them simultaneously. And yeah, the Wyvern was causing issues for some people. That's all we'll say.
Other than that, like, it was so straightforward. Like, we would have had it done sub an hour, like, if it wasn't for that challenge. And I think it's just mental how your experience can change from one level.
It's one damage threshold, yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. But you know what? Going into the next season, I won't be giving a shit about XP level either.
Well, there's no.
So what?
Raid or
At the
anything,
moment,
so-
we're at 1320. Sorry. So next season's maximum power cap is going to be 1330. So in theory, you'll only need plus 16 to do Master Vogue the first week, which is a lot the first week, but by the time the second week rolls around and you start getting more pinnacle gear, yeah, it'll be much easier to do it.
But yeah, other than that, playing some tribes of Midgard, it's so fun. It was funny last night. You need to get to level or day 15 for an achievement to unlock one of your classes. And we'd gotten to day 14. Day 14 goes on for fucking ages. And then you can leave the world at any time. And it was like, congratulations, you survived another night. So we're like, ah, cool. So we backed out. And it pops up your achievements, how many Jotuns you killed and how much blah, blah, blah. And it was like, days survived, 14. You have to actually finish. So you have to go into day 16 to get the achievement. God. And this was like 3 hours later. And I was just like, oh my God. It was so funny. But it's one of those things. It's easy enough to get to. It's just a grind. So it wasn't necessarily, oh my God, I've wasted 3 hours, because you're doing other stuff in the background. You're getting other achievements. But it was just funny that it was just like, I want to unlock this class. Let's get to 15. But yeah, it was funny.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like, but it doesn't say complete day 15. It just says make it to day 15. But yeah, it was funny. Other than that, just played a little bit of Apex as well. And that's been me, really.
How are you finding Apex now with the new character and stuff?
It's like anything else. It's just prominent because it's new. Everyone's playing it, and he is actually useful. But game breaking.
It's kind of like when Stasis comes out. They brought out Stasis, and it was super powerful.
It's oversaturated,
and everyone was using it, so it became very annoying. Yeah, it's just a new character.
He's good if you're good with him, but if you're not good with him, he's average. Like, the amount of times last night we came up against Seer, and it's all about placement of his ult and placement of his Q and stuff like that, and timing for third parties. But if it's not being utilized to that effectiveness, it's average. It's just like anyone else. Like, Fuse is more fucking annoying because his knuckle cluster bullshit goes on for twice as long now. So all you hear is ting 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 ting. It's like a cluster bomb going off in your face. But yeah, other than that, it's fine. Wasn't playing ranked, just playing casually, so it's fine. Yeah.
Alright, Ross, calm down.
The word is
fine.
I'm fine.
I have a margarita as well.
What's it? I made. What was it? I can't remember what he said. Doesn't
About the
matter.
margaritas.
Yeah, he says it in a funny way. Doesn't matter. Move on. Forget about it. I haven't. It doesn't
Not
matter.
margarita. It's just lemon fucking diluted. But yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, my week I haven't played a whole lot of games. I was sick from Sunday night until today. Today I feel a good bit better. But
Not COVID.
I was like I literally had all of the fucking symptoms for COVID. I had everything. If what I had this week wasn't COVID, I don't want to get COVID because I was miserable. I was miserable all week. I was woke up in the middle of the night Sunday night just in a cold sweat and full fever, and it was horrible. So I slept on the sofa a couple nights. So that obviously didn't help the back either. But yeah, I'm all right. Feeling better today at least. So back to work tomorrow.
How did Loki find having you?
Back to work from home tomorrow. Yeah, but yeah, I think last weekend, I think I finished off the Broken Skull sessions, which is Stone Cold's kind of podcast interviews. But that was excellent. Really enjoyed that. Got to finish it. Finished them all, but he has a new one out this week, so looking forward to it. Other than that, I did the Destiny raid on Tuesday with Dill, his master raid. We were all that was supposed to be our last master raid because that would have been where everyone got the challenges done for the triumph to get Fatebreaker seal. And now that Dill is enjoying doing it, we're like, right, looks like we're doing it for the next 4 weeks. But the case with the master raid is, and I'll get into it when we talk more about Destiny, is that once you've done the 5 challenges, so the way it drops, and again before, you get 1 weapon for each of the 5 challenges. There's 5 encounters with 5 challenges. When you get all those weapons, there's not much point doing the master one. I know you can get the high roll gear, but transmog's a thing, so you just transmog it into
And
the
that was another
gear.
thing I noticed. The gear you drop, it's not massively high. Like I already had like 24 recovery.
Yeah,
and
so
I
what
was
it
getting
does,
26.
it focuses a stat. Yeah, it focuses one
Oh, I know
stat.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you end up getting like it's a roll in the 60s, and say on recovery week you're guaranteed a high recovery roll. But like, I think what would revitalize it would be just give an ornamented set. So you're making people want to run it again every week. So it's kind of like once you've done your 5 weeks of it, it's like there's not much point doing this anymore, or 5 or 6 week, whatever it is. Conflux, Orgul, 5 weeks. Once you've done the 5 challenges, it's like there's not much point doing it anymore, which is kind of shit and misses the mark. But I'll get back to that in a bit. Apart from that, did the epilogue. I played some Pokemon on Switch this week. Just doing some dungeon. What are they called? That's a different game altogether. The Dynamax Adventures. I'm just doing a few of them just to try get a shiny Tapu Lele, I think it was. But apart from that, I just haven't been in the mood to play any games this week, to be quite honest. I just was not in the mood. I played the last year's WWE game for PlayStation. I bought it to play it with my brother because we used to always play it when we were younger. Got it for like 20 quid, so don't really care. And it's so bad. It is.
Oh, really?
It is tragically. Now, they didn't make one last year. They took a gap year because of how bad this game was. But it's so bad. It's just it's horrendous. Yeah. It's just shit. But it's funny. It's just funny. Sure, apart from that, no, I don't have anything, to be quite honest. I really don't. It's been a sick week where I haven't done anything. That's what I would say to Louise. You know I'm sick when I don't want to be playing computer games. If I'm not playing games, you know I'm sick. Because I just couldn't be. I slept most of the week, to be quite honest. Lay on the sofa,
Jesus.
watched shit telly. So yeah, that was that. Shall we move on to talking about Season of the Splicer? I know we did early reactions in the first few weeks to it. We did that and spoke about it a little bit, but we'll speak about it a bit more at length today. I'm just taking note of the time on that because it makes my life easier tomorrow. So yeah, season of the Splicer, it began whatever it is now, 12 weeks ago, 14 weeks ago
4
now at some
years
point.
ago.
We're coming into the last. I think next week is the last week of it. Yeah,
24th, the new season starts. Yeah.
The new season starts Tuesday. 2 weeks. Yeah. So
Tuesday week.
So Tuesday week. So Tuesday coming is the final week of it. So you've got 2 weeks to complete the epilogue mission and wrap up the season. Shall we jump in at the deep end and talk about the epilogue mission and what that may, the repercussions of that and what we thought of that, and then we can talk about the rest of the season and dip back into it, I guess.
Yeah.
So this week, so all season long, we've been doing override public event for Mithrax. Is a fallen guy, leader of the Elixni, who we've been working with, because we have a common enemy, which is the Vex this season. More.
Is it not racism now?
No, it's not racism. That does come into it though. So we've been fighting the Vex, who've been under the control of Korea, who we killed a few weeks ago. It's basically linking into the beginning of next year's big expansion, the Witch Queen. So this week, the leader of the future war cult, who has been very, very racist, very xenophobic all season, kind of
got our comeuppance.
Got her comeuppance. So we had to go and listen to a broadcast from her, and at the end of that, it sounded like something went down. So we went to defend the last city from the Vex incursion, I guess. Yeah. Basically, she had opened a gate to the last city for the Vex to come invade the last city. I think that was what happened.
But it's okay because she got told how to safely open a Vex portal without letting the Vex through.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But so we've had the override public event, or override, whatever you want to call it, public event, 6-player match made activity all season, and we got a new one this week, which was in the last city. More accurately, it was in the final boss room of Scourge of the Past raid. Same as it was all season. Clear out waves of ads, dunk the moats, do the thing. At the end of that, we got a cutscene, which Bungie make great cutscenes, by the way. They really do. Where it was, we saw Mithrax and Saint 14 fighting alongside each other. It was Mithrax. We got a very nice, touching dialogue where Mithrax was telling, "Go help your people, go save your people," to which Saint 14 replied, "You are my people."
You are my people.
Very good. Back to the wall. Shit hit the fan, and the rest of the Vanguard, the ones that are alive, that is, came back to save the day. We saw Korra come in with a Nova Bomb. We saw Zavala come in, and his super actually did good things this time, unlike the opening mission of the Red War. So yeah, they came and saved the day, and then we saw a very shady Osiris overlooking what was going on and didn't help, and then he walked away looking all suspicious.
I like how they timed that with the Nova Bomb, because you were kind of like,
you thought it was Osiris,
yeah.
And then Ikora's like, "I'm here, bitches," which that was really good writing.
It was cool. After that, it wrapped up, just to finish off what came along in that Epilogue mission. After the cutscene, we got some dialogue with Saint 14 and with Ikora. Ikora told us that Lakshmi had got her comeuppance. Lakshmi was the leader of the Future War Cult faction. She'd been very racist against the Fallen all season, which was all brilliantly done by Bungie. And she also told us that New Monarchy and Dead Orbit have also left because of their part that they played in it. So basically, Bungie made a whole season of Destiny just to write factions out of the game. They reversed.
It was a good way of kind of pushing them out, though.
It was. It made sense, yeah. Because Dead Orbit wanted to fucking leave forever. Lakshmi was doing it. I didn't think it was. You could talk about it further and saying that it's like, while we may have different ideologies, your different beliefs were all the same, really, which is kind of where I think Bungie have gone with this. In that it's like, yeah, we all believe different things, but we're all Guardians. We all want the same thing. Whereas the factions had separate ideologies and were always clashing with each other and blah blah blah. So.
Yeah, I think my when I finished the cutscene, I was just left feeling like I needed more, and
Yeah, is that it type thing?
then like because I didn't get a pop up saying that there was the quest continued. I was like, this is it. Like, where do I go? Is this the end of it? And then I went looking through the director and I was like, oh, okay, it says go back to the tower and talk to Ikora. But like, I think I was thinking about this a lot in the last few days, and anytime I see Damage or Cosmo being like, oh, what feedback do you have? The word that just jumps out to me is just more. Bungie do everything great. I just need more. Like when they do cutscenes, that cutscene was amazing.
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was absolutely brilliant.
Why not follow that through then with a cutscene? Even the way that they've been bringing in the kind of cartoonized cutscenes, where it shows like Ikora talking to Arak Jaral and Hideo, whatever, Nakajima, anyway, Executioner.
He's
Hideo.
released in a new game today.
Fukushima, I think it is, or something like that, is it?
Yeah, so like, why not do something like that where because you've got the voice actor for Ikora now, you've got Mara Jor doing it, so have that kind of shown what's going on and them leaving rather than just leaving it to a go talk to her in the tower. And I'm just like, you do so much and then you just drop the ball. Like you get this really big high and then the lowest of lows. And it's like, guys, just more. You're really good at what you do. Just give us more. And your team are so talented.
Just to play devil's advocate on that, because I have to, because I'm a Destiny shill, forgive me. Sorry Twitter, sorry YouTube. That shit's not cheap to make.
No, I know.
Not in terms of budget or time. So I can understand why it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I know that's always going to lead to, but we could have this and we don't have that. We get so much, and I get all that. But is it in a case of we get that amazing stuff and it's delayed, or we get not as much amazing stuff, but we get more of it? I think there's got to be a trade-off somewhere. Just before I can see Dill has an opinion to come in with. I can see it. Just to take the issue I have, not an issue, and it's been an issue for a long time, and it's gonna be resolved in the next 6 months. We've had, it actually probably isn't, but we've had so much build-up for so long about Savathûn and about all that's going on, the Witch Queen stuff, and I know we're starting to get close, but it is a case of, it's another season of building something, and it's another season. And now, we knew going into all this that it was going to be a season of building something, and what they're building is fantastic, and I can't wait for the payoff whenever we fucking get it. But it is just a case of that more that you want isn't going to happen in a €10 season, unfortunately. And I want the tattoo, but I want as much Destiny as fucking possible. Like, I love playing Destiny. There's no secret there, and I just can't wait for that big of getting more in Witch Queen in whenever it is, January or February. And I know we've got probably a slow enough season until that point. But sorry, Dill, go on.
I just feel like I say the same thing every couple of weeks. This is the whole campaign versus seasons. Like, we get such brawled out content and like that. We get a cutscene. While it was great, if you think about it, it was literally just watching a fight finish. There was no like massive choreography. There was no like, it was literally just a wall of Vex walking forward, and you see dialogue between two characters and another character overlooking. You see the supers coming in. That's great, but like Stephen said, it just ends. And then you go talk to Ikora, and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the factions are gone." Like, I loved it, but add in more kind of depth to it. Don't just say, "Oh, by the way, this happened." And I know it's expensive. I know it takes time, but at the same time, I'm sure if you asked 90% of the community, would pay extra for seasons if it
100%
meant
they
we
would, yeah.
got that fleshed out content. I know it's only a tenner, so that's like battle pass price for 3 months. But at the same time, with big DLC campaign drops, you were happy to pay that 60 quid because you got fucking massive story arcs, you got your raids, you got your new maps and crucibles, you got your new maps and strikes, you got new Gambit maps if Gambit was a thing, which it wasn't in this Destiny 1, but for argument's sake, you get this massive influx of content.
But I think, just to answer, I think we got a lot of content this season. Like, I think everything you said there, like a story arc. I'm not gonna go with Gambit and Crucible maps because they didn't happen. But like, we got a story arc, we got activities, we got a raid, we got. I don't think we got a strike. We got some strike. A strike might come back. I could be wrong. I can't remember. I don't think so this season. Actually, I think I'm wrong on that.
No.
Now, we got all that, and I think the story... We got a big story arc this season, but I think what makes it maybe feel like we didn't is how spaced out it is.
That's because the thing. I hate that.
And I think that's the toss-up. It's like, do you want it spread out so you have something to do each week for, whatever, we'll say 3 months, or would you rather get it in a smaller dose? And I would personally rather get it in a smaller dose. And then, so you'd have maybe 4 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks of this big content drop. And then you have your GMs come in. And
Iron Banner.
You do your Iron Banner and you do your raid and you do... So you have this small period of time where you might get 4, 5, 6 hours of story content. Because we got lots of story content this season. If we want to actually look at it, you got... The override mission started up with the Vex came in, you met Mithrax, and then you got all the Saint 14 stuff that came from that, and then we went into the Vex. I've been in it so many times, you think I remember it by now. The Vex
Expunge.
The Vex domain, and we went in and fought the 3 bosses, and then we went in and killed Korea, and then we got all this stuff now with Lakshmi, and that all played out, and we had then the final mission and the cutscene. So that's a lot, but because it was spaced out, we got a little bit this week, and then a bit week 2, and then a bit week 3, and I'm gonna say this is week 13, just off the top of my tip of my tongue. It may be later than that, maybe earlier. So it's taken 12 or 13 weeks to get all the story. Whereas if we all got that in a little smaller package of 4 to 6 weeks, it'd be more satisfying. Or the way we used to get it in D1, because if you actually look at, I'm gonna use it as the example. Crota's End, whatever that expand, the Dark Below, there was not a lot of story content in the Dark Below.
No.
But because you got all of it in one go, it felt like more. Whereas we got probably 9-10 hours worth of story content this season. But it was 40 minutes week 1, 40 minutes week 2, and 40 minutes is being very kind. It was more like 20 minutes week 1, 20 minutes week 2. And it was spread out, so it feels like less. Look at me,
I think...
That's the sad thing. Go on, Stephen.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Where I think you're.
I agree as well, by the way, Dill. I agree completely.
Yeah. I know.
I do agree.
And I think something that struck me yesterday after, because so again, go back to the more argument, is that they create this really high, and then followed by this really crushing low. And that's nearly every week. That when you go in, you do your 20-minute override activity, and you get the story. You're like, this is great. And then you're waiting, you're like, fuck it, wait till next week. And that's okay when it's over a 4 to 5 week period, because I don't think it makes sense for these override activities to go like from one mission to the next mission to the next mission, and then you complete the story within a 4 hour sitting. You're like,
that was it.
You're like, is that not that's it in terms of content? But you're like, I just blasted through all that. Does that really make sense to the universe? And I literally just hopped through all these different things and then beat Korea at the same time. It's like, no.
And I think that's the way to look at it, Stephen, is does it make sense for the universe? Yeah.
Yeah, and like that, I was all okay with this because I think with Season of the Chosen last season, the story content was added out. Like, we didn't get story content each week, really. In Season of the Splicer, we got something every week, but then we got a big 6-week gap between defeating Korea to the epilogue, and it's like, no, that's not on. Like, why? And not even that. But this is the more arguments, like put in some world building stuff in the background. So have the like this week in the PA there was the alarm going off. So if you listen to the speakers, but that's like stuff like that. Like it's annoying, but like if stuff like that where you're logging in every week and you're hearing things like Lakshmi's new broadcast or something, you're like, okay, so there's world building going on over these weeks, and then building up to like she's working with Osiris, and then you hear the last week is like, oh, Osiris has told me how to safely do this. So like it kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, how do you when have you been working with Osiris? What's going on? And it's just that if you're gonna put a delay like that in there, put a little bit of thought behind even some background world building so that it makes sense to us to go, okay, look, I didn't like that it took 6 weeks, but it makes sense within the universe. And I may not have gotten story content, but I definitely got something in the background. And that's just, I feel like they need to just do something like that, or make the epilogue a week or two break. And then, as you said, Kev, it's the Grandmasters and stuff like that that keep the hardcore Destiny player. I'm happy to fuck up and play more games. And Destiny say, come back to us.
That's exactly what I was actually going to say, Stephen, was that this epilogue mission shouldn't... So, the way this season of Destiny's dropped, 50%, the first 50% was story building. And you had the Vault of Glass smack bang in the middle of that, kept everyone happy. And then after those first 5 or 6 weeks, it was... And here's the stuff for the hardcore players. Grandmaster Nightfalls. The Master Vogue. And then you had, at the very end of that, all these story people have stopped playing Destiny until the next season. And it's like, and here's a bit more story at the end. So this part over here should have been put at the beginning, before the Grandmaster stuff came out. So that we did have that confined, in like, big drop of story content. And then it was like, right, if you're not interested in doing Grandmasters or Master Vogue, you can go do what you want for the next few weeks. And you accept that Destiny's not for you until the next season. Whereas this was lots of story, and then it was like, right, I'm done with Destiny for season. Wait, I have to go back and do something else. I haven't played it in 6 weeks. So you may have forgotten all the stuff that you spoke about, Stephen. The build-up stuff, the background stuff, the working with each other stuff. That all happened. But it happened so long ago now that you probably you kind of forgot about it because you haven't been playing.
It feels like a different season.
Yeah. True.
So I do think, the epilogue should maybe take a week break and then have it. And then you could have, in that gap week, you could have that story building, that the PA systems going off. The Lakshmi has a new dialogue thing every couple of days. I don't know. Osiris is acting a little bit shady. And then you have that big... And then it's like... And then a following week, you have it. There's multiple ways they could do it. There is multiple ways they could do it.
I don't start reading the book.
It's going to be worse.
Worse, yeah. And longer as well.
And that's why it's going to be so long. It's going to feel drawn out. SRL is absolutely coming back this December just to fill in the gap. Sorry, Dill, you don't read a book.
I don't read a book and stop at the last chapter and say, I'll read that in 5 weeks.
That's how Louise reads.
But it's one of those things that it's like you're invested in the story. It's like watching a TV show every week. You cannot wait for that next week because you're getting content. And then it just stopped. It ended. And like the correlation between Osiris and Lakshmi, that was non-existent if you don't go read fucking lore pieces and lore segments and books and stuff like that, which not a lot of people do. It's like the whole thing. I want my story explained to me. I don't want to have to go searching for my story. You know, you're telling me the story. Tell it to me.
Just to come in on that though, like I think they've done a much, like I know it's been very spaced out.
Yeah.
But I think they took the good story building stuff we got last season. So last season the story building was given to us during the Presage mission. And we got a lot of stuff on Keitel through that. Whereas this season we've actually got that as actual content and of building it up. Now it's been spaced out and I agree with the thing. It's like, oh shit, I have to log in on Tuesday to get the next bit of story. Whereas I'd rather just have it in a bigger bulk. But I think in terms of story building and telling story and all that, I think this season has been the best one we've had outside of a big expansion, hands down. Like they are getting closer to hitting the nail on the head. I just think they need to compress it a bit. Just compress that timeline a little bit. If there's 4 weeks before the end of a new season where there's no content in Destiny, that's okay. It means that Dill can go play Apex or try out Tribes of Midgard, and Steven can go get given out to in a Discord server for being a shit healer, and I can move my desk 16 times.
Yeah, but that, like, they need to not be afraid to let their player base go. Like,
Yeah.
and this is, I'm going to bring Final Fantasy into this again, but
I was going
like,
to do that, you cheater. You robbed my fucking point.
But yeah, Yoshi P says that all the time. He's like, this game is designed for you to take a break. Like, go do something else and come back when you want to play it. And Destiny needs to be brave enough to say to its players, guys,
they're not,
this
though.
is
That's the problem.
Yeah, like, it's a 12-week season. You've got 6 weeks of story content, 6 weeks of hardcore grinding if you want to do the hard stuff.
Do what you
And
want.
if that's not for you, go do something else. It's like, come back. You know the good stuff is coming again 6 weeks after that. You're not missing out.
And I think that maybe comes to... Sorry, Dale, go on.
No, I was just saying that's the whole thing with live service. It's like they're committing to one way of adopting the live service lifestyle that they're afraid to adapt and change that as it grows, and they find out the certain people want different things at different times. Like you said, give us 6 weeks of shit, and then give us the option for 6 weeks of do whatever we want, and still drop the odd kind of thing here and there. But it's like they're too fixated on that base model of live service that it's hindering them too much. Like, this season has been the best season because it's taken 4 or 5 seasons for them to pick little kind of bits from each one and put it together. And like Kev was saying, they're getting to that perfection stage. It's just, how many more seasons do we have to go through to actually get there? You know,
I think...
But we saw it with, what's it called? What was that season in what was the activity that everyone loved in the Leviathan underbelly? Whatever it was called. Menagerie.
Yeah.
We're going to need
everyone
something like that this season.
But then it dropped off. So for all we know, Splicer could be the peak, and then it could drop off again next season. You know?
I think actually the way I'm looking at it as well, that season of the Splicer, when that has dropped in the year, that's usually the weakest season in the Destiny calendar.
Yeah,
it's usually big drop. It's great. The one after that is good, and now it's shit. Oh yeah, we know it was shit, we're sorry. And then here's a really good season to build up to the next expansion, where you got a menagerie, or you got
Season of Arrivals and
Season of Arrivals. Whereas this one's been very strong, so hopefully I'm slightly concerned about next season. Because we don't know what we're getting at all. They've
just
told
so long, man.
They've told
6
us
months.
nothing, and it's going to be, well, it's August, so September, October, November, December. It's minimum 5 months, more likely, like you said, 6 months. It's going to be a long season. I'm looking forward to playing lots of other games in that time, because I don't know, I don't see what they're going to do to keep us going, because back in the day it was, right, I've done the story for King's Fall, I've beaten Oryx, I've done all the secret stuff, I'm going to go play some Crucible for a couple months now, because I like doing that. Whereas now it's like, I don't like playing Crucible. Actually, gonna say, come in on that. I played a bit of casual Crucible over the last week. That's what I should have said. I actually did play some Crucible at the weekend. Just for no reason other than I'm going to play a bit of casual Crucible. And I had fun. I think the sandbox, for the most part, is in a very good state at the moment for playing casual in terms of 6v6. 3v3, so Trials is a mess because it's very campy. People, the way people play is very passive. But 6v6, when you go in and just play it casually, because Iron Banner was on this week. So when you play it casually, just to have a bit of fun, you can have fun. There's still some shenanigans, don't get me wrong. Played against multiple cheaters that I'm like convinced they were cheating, but that's part of the parcel for gaming these days. Unfortunately, that's just a massive problem across the board in every competitive game. But I had a bit of fun because I took it casually and I didn't get too invested in having to win every single engagement. When I got supered, I got supered. But there was fuck all stasis. But yeah, just to go back to the seasonal stuff, like it's hard to compare Destiny for me to another live service game because there's nothing else really like it. I think we all talk about like Final Fantasy's model is fantastic, and the way I look at it, like I started playing Final Fantasy 2 weeks ago, and there's literally about 70-80 hours of content there for me to play. And I think Destiny, if you play Destiny casually, you shouldn't play it at the beginning of the season. You should buy it the second last week of the season, because then you've literally got all of the story stuff, all of the seasonal activities, everything is there for you to do, in those 2 weeks, and you could literally have 2 weeks worth of content and go, geez, that was fucking great. Here's my epilogue. I got all that story. Right, I'll go back to Destiny in 3 months' time for the last 2 weeks of the next season. Yeah, I don't know.
This is becoming more of a review of the seasonal model and live service again than the
so that's our experience now, and that's the
Like I think in terms of the season itself, I think the story was great. The story was brilliantly told. It wasn't just told through armor pieces and weapons through Grimoire tabs. Now, don't get me wrong, you got extra info from the Grimoire tabs. So, like, Savatoon was misleading Lakshmi the whole time. Savatoon was saying, "Oh, you want to be the leader of the Vanguard? Oh, I can help you get that." Like you were saying, Stephen. "Oh, you want to open the Vex portal? You want to learn how to open a Vex portal, but no Vex come through? Oh, I can help you with that." Like there was lots of that, like, yeah, psych. It was just like all that's going on in the background. Then there's the whole stuff with Osiris. Osiris is looking shady as fuck. Without getting into like leaks and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have read any of the leaks.
No.
But I think I haven't read any of the leaks myself. I read up to I saw some stuff for this season. I don't know went past that. But like, is Osiris even Osiris?
I don't think so. This that I'm happy to talk about when we want to, but yeah.
Yeah, no, we can talk about it. We can get into it now. I'm happy to get into it now. But I think my personal belief on it is that Osiris has been Mad-Eye Moodied in Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah, I think
I understood that reference.
With Sagira being gone, I think what's happened really is that Sagira is probably being repressed somewhere, and Osiris has been captured by Savatoon. And
I thought Sagira got blown the fuck up. She's dead.
She's dead. She?
Oh, no, she's dead.
I think Shike Faction's yeeted out of the universe now. I think Osiris has been doppelgangered, and we're seeing Savatoon or some other emissary in his place.
It could be. Ooh, it's not Savatoon. I don't think Savatoon is Osiris, but it could be Xivu Arath.
It's someone in the Hive hierarchy,
or just some random wizard named Jim.
And this is how we get Evil Guardians next season, because the Hive have harnessed the ability to infect people.
Yeah.
I wonder, are we... Because where I was thinking was, I thought that they had Sagira, and I was like, oh, I wonder, would the Hive learn how to harness ghosts? So maybe not the light.
That's what's been happening, though. Sorry to come in, Stephen, but that has what's been happening. The Fallen Sorry. The
Scions are trying to capture.
No, the Fallen with what's her name? Beyond Light. Aramis. The Fallen learned how to use abilities, the darkness, and then later on we had was it the Vex were coming for something?
No, the Scions.
The Scions, yeah.
Yeah. The ghosts,
so it's gonna be the Hive are probably gonna be learning some funky abilities somehow.
Could you imagine if fucking Savatoon had like figured out how to harness the light or get infinite resurrections? Like, that would be a very weird raid boss.
That's probably her end game. Is
Annex
probably
has been doing it for years.
True, yeah.
But that is probably her end game is to get rid of her worm somehow.
Yeah.
So tricking the Traveler into giving her its light could be part of the end game. But to say on Dill's thing about Dark Guardians, I don't think that's coming yet. I think it's coming I think that's coming the year after Witch Queen.
Oh, Lightfall.
Lightfall, yeah. Because we're not... This is me spitting it out there into the system, the solar system, that we're not gonna be fighting Savatoon in Witch Queen. We're like the raid boss for Witch Queen. I don't think it's gonna be Savatoon. I think Savatoon.
It's never anyone we want anyway.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be later on. I think it's gonna be way later on, because you had that whole thing with with the stranger where she died during that big battle on the moon where Savatune there and there's Dark Guardians and the Vex, and then we're fighting alongside the Fallen and all that blah blah blah, and then the stranger gets killed and gets sent back to the beginning of our time loop. That's Savatune. That's way later on because we've got a lot to get through to get to that point. Eris has to go bad and everything.
Eris needs to thaw out. Aramis, sorry.
Eris. Yeah.
There. Yeah.
And that's the thing, Aramis is going to thaw out at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'd be the raid boss that we all wanted in Beyond Light in Witch Queen.
That made zero sense to me. Why?
Raids always do. It's gonna be... No, it's not.
It's because I think the way...
AI. No, it's not.
I think the way they approach raids is that they're a supplement to the story.
Yeah.
That you get your story and you get an A to B, that you get to your destination. Right, that's wrapped up. But if you want this, it's like a spin-off. It's like an extended universe of, oh, you want more on that? Here's some side story. Here's some supplementary stuff. And I think that's the way they've always approached raids, was that if you don't want to do 6-player activities because you're a bit of a introverted recluse, that's perfectly okay, because we're going to give you an A to B story here, and then the hardcore people get something cool too.
So, Dale, what do you think of the Osiris Sinks? Kevin, I've kind of said it there where we think it's going, or we think
was one of those things that I hadn't thought about it until you said it, and what you said of the fact that it's not him or he's possessed does make sense, because like even his body language in that fight scene, you could see he was just assessing it rather than fighting between should I help or should I not help, which makes it more so like it's not him.
Oh yeah, he was chilling. He had the popcorn out.
Yeah, like it's completely out of character.
And that's his lover, like, you know, him and Saint are. So you'd expect if you're gonna jump in to save anyone, it's gonna be your. Yeah, but he just didn't give a fuck.
No. Whereas kind of reiterates the whole, like, if this is the war chief, is that what Zivurat is? That like they're just assessing like their fighting styles and kind of their battle sense and stuff like that. Looking at it from that perspective that you mentioned, it makes sense. But who knows? This is another thing with Destiny. We'll see something fucking cool like this, and we'll get an answer this time next year.
We won't get. We aren't gonna. Well, one would hope that we will get an answer at the end of the next season around Osiris. Depends where we're going.
This is Destiny.
I have seen some leaks on where. I don't want to talk about leaks, about where what next season is gonna be. I'm happy to talk about that off podcast if you want to talk about what the season could be. Well, we'll find out next week anyway. We'll start to get a teaser, I'm sure. But yeah,
because
hopefully we'll find out before Witch Queen what's going on with Brosiris.
We won't. It'll be halfway through Witch Queen or something. He'll come out. It's the same thing with all these kind of nice little side arcs. It's the foundations are set, and then it doesn't culminate anywhere, and that gets really annoying after a while. I can't think of other examples because I've forgotten about them.
Well, Aramis is one. Like
Aramis, there you go.
It's nearly a year and nothing's happened on that side.
The golden trio of Beyond Light, they went off, and these were our new fucking Darkness Vanguard. And then I don't think there was one story beat with the Guardian or with the Drifter fucking Eris.
Oh yeah, they were just there.
But it's one of those things. It's like you put the foundations for something cool like that. We got a good cutscene of them kind of synergizing with each other in a fight, and that was it. We still haven't got an answer to fucking the Beyond Light ghost, fucking fishy ghost.
Oh yeah,
and it's like this is prime central shit that you're showing us. Like this was the post-credit scene of that trailer. And then that was a year ago. We've still got no answer to it. It's just I don't like that kind of storytelling. It annoys me.
No, it'll annoy me too, because I think for me, I kind of have an idea in my head of what next season will be. I think.
Go on, Steven, spit it out there. What do you think it's going to be? I'm gonna keep
So
my mouth shut because I think I know.
I had like after seeing what happened with Cyrus, I was like, oh,
Nice.
I was like, oh, maybe next season could be called something like Season of Betrayals. So playing on the Season of Arrivals. So we get Season of Betrayals because you've got the very, very clear indication from Ikora that they don't think Osiris is up to anything sus. She's got to try and reach out to him and bring him back in if he just explains what's going on. The usual, like, oh, we forgive him without any evidence whatsoever. And I feel like this would be a prime season to build up to kind of tensions within the human factions. So where, we've heard Sabatoon's song going on in different aspects of the tower and in the lore and people who've been affected by it, and certain people like that didn't show up in the fight against the Vex.
Like
so, like Crow didn't show up. Saladin, for all his fucking wanting to war, he didn't show up. Little bitch, fucking hiding somewhere. And like, I just feel like that would be a good season to lead into Witch Queen, where we start getting a division within that. Because let's not forget that. Because exactly. Because we have ideas that potentially Zavala and Shax are also under Sabatoon's control potentially. So building all that up and having that come in would be really nice in that season leading to Witch Queen. And I think now with that part of Osiris, to me it feels like that would be a great place to jump off. And if they do what Dale is saying, which is have this thread and leave it for a year, I'll be pissed. Because it's such a clear indication of where things can go for Witch Queen, and we have 5 months to go through that. And to just leave it would be such a shame.
I don't think they'll leave it because Osiris is who Osiris is. He plays such a big part. Him just disappearing is not just going to be something that they're going to go, that's not important. We'll just sweep that under the carpet. So I think him disappearing will lead us. I think that's probably what's going to happen. We'll go looking for Osiris. That's going to be what this season is. And we'll find him in the epilogue in week 15.
Season of Revelations. That's it. Season of Betrayal or Season of Revelations. I'm going with those two.
But like, I'm trying to think of more instances where they've just dropped story beats. And like, I know you were saying raids are a side piece and stuff like that. But that is kind of really disheartening when it comes to like the Beyond Light campaign, where like the boss is gotta be fucking, what was his name? The AI, their dad.
Clovis?
Oh, yeah.
Clovis. And I understand that's a raid, but then you have in, what was the expansion? Garden of Salvation, when you see yourself as the darkness and we are your salvation. Like, did you not see that, Stephen?
No.
Yeah, there was a cutscene in...
What was the season?
Season of Arrivals.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one. Yeah. I thought you meant in Garden of Salvation. I was like,
no, that season. No. And then it's like, it's in the Garden of Salvation where we are.
Yeah. The Black Garden, yeah.
But that's like, nothing's more has come of that.
Yeah,
really.
True.
Like, it's... I like mystery, but I don't like open-ended storylines like that. Like, I don't mind having the what if and that kind of thing, but give me the culmination and then let me speculate. Don't make me speculate and then make me speculate again. I'm just cautious. Like, I'm not looking forward to next season in terms of how long it is, but at the same time, I'm looking forward to story-wise because, like you're saying, Stephen, it's a really good opportunity to lead up to the Witch Queen, and I think as the game currently is now, it will be bigger than Beyond Light in terms of expansion-wise because
it has to be. Yeah.
How many years have people who even dipped out of the game who just want to know the culmination of Sabatoon, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is going back to fucking Destiny 1 as well.
Yeah, it's going back as far as the Taken King.
Yeah. So I think this is their opportunity to take it and lead with it and really pump as much as they can into building this up and delivering. Because if they, like you said, build it up and then there's a drop off for however many months, it's just kind of like missed opportunity.
See, I think on the opposite side, I hope that next season, so the season that's coming in on August 24th, and then we get the reveal of what's happening later on. I'd be happier if that season gets less attention. And they might say to us, and they could say to us, look, we're going to give you a bit of content to keep you going. There'll be a season, but you'll have the Halloween seasonal activity, you'll have an activity around Christmas. But this season is going to be slow, and we know it's going to be slow, but we promise it'll be worse than the Witch Queen. Because the Witch Queen has to be, it's going to be similar in scale and scope to the Taken King. It has to be. It's Oryx's sister. If it's anything less, people will not be happy. And I don't think Bungie would be too happy either. If
the comparison's going to be
if it doesn't match up to the Taken King. We're going to get a whole new planet. Maybe not planet, but a whole new patrol space. It's probably going to be old Chicago. That's what it looks. That's what it's leaning towards. But it'd be also nice if we got part of the Dreadnought back. That we have to go to the Dreadnought, and we have even half the Dreadnought, because then it's 2 patrol spaces. So it would be interesting what happens.
But I think we can have that without the next season not being a valid season. Like,
oh no, I don't. It'll absolutely be a valid season. It will absolutely be a valid season.
The story needs to be strong, and that's what I'm hoping for. Like, I don't care. Okay, I'll be pissed if they decide to go with their model for Splicer and just go, oh, we'll draw that out. So instead of your story content dropping every week, it's going to be every 2 or 3 weeks, so you can space it out. It's like, don't do that.
No.
If it ends the way it ends now, so if by week 12 the story's done, but there's still 24 more weeks or whatever it ends up being until the next drop, it's like, fine, just tell us that in advance and leave it that way. But I don't think if they take their foot off the brakes on the story, or off the gas on the story, I'm really going to be disappointed with them, because I don't think there's enough time in Witch Queen to pick up the threads that are being left now in season with Splicer, and then bring in all the new threads as well. So they need to do something major here. It can be a slow burn, but it needs to be major.
Like, just going off that point, like, in a personal way, I didn't like Season of the Chosen for that aspect alone of I'm not getting a story every week. Like, every week getting a story is long enough as it is, but when you're getting every 2 or 3 weeks, you're falling out of touch with the story. Like, when running Battlegrounds, that was my probably least favorite seasonal activity. Like, it felt like it went on for way too long. Yeah. And
I enjoyed it the first time I did it, and then didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But Override had the complete opposite feel. I loved that. That's been my favorite seasonal activity since the Menagerie, and that's another thing I kind of wish they didn't do every season, was bring in this new seasonal activity, because
that becomes irrelevant after the season ends.
Yeah. And like, I know it's in tune with the story of the season, but this one felt like it really was, because you were getting the story beats from Mithrax in your comms, and then you were getting Osiris the next week, and then you were getting Saint another week, and there just felt like a lot more there. Whereas this has kind of set the standard for me on seasonal activity. Whereas next season, if we get something like, was it Season that shows me you had to throw the ball into the fucking things on the EDZ and stuff like that?
That was Season of Arrivals, wasn't it?
No, that was another good one, but the filler ones, like
the season with Rasputin, that one, Season of the Wordy.
Like, they feel just very naff, whereas this is integrated into the storytelling, and if they do it like that, it's fine. But don't make me just do an activity for the sake of saying that's your story for the season. Like Kev was saying with the lore tabs and stuff like that, it's extras. If you want to explore it, you can, but it's not necessarily the only way to experience the story, you know?
Yeah, and what I was going to pick up on that point earlier on when Kev said originally, one of the things that I liked about storytelling this season was that if you were a lore hunter, you got extra out of that mission, because if you found that friendly harpy and you read the stoichiochemical equation, whatever it was called, that weapon, if you read the lore tab to that, you got an insight into how that harpy is potentially Ashamir. And I'm okay with missing that because I don't read the lore, but to see people talk about it afterwards and then read it, like the way with Returnal, Kev, where you read about all the Greek stories that person put through around I can't remember the names of them, Helios and so on, and like reading that as someone else's interpretation is really cool. I enjoy that, but the core storytelling has to be told explicitly to me. And those little bits that if I go searching and I find them and I get an extra reward, even better, because I'm happy to see someone else tell me that. But the core story needs to be told directly to me, and they did that well this season. And I think they did it really well with pushing some of the more obscure lore into the tabs, but it actually fed in to little bits that were tangible. So I think they did really well with this.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, that's not the first time we've seen a friendly harpy.
No, there was one on
Europa.
Yeah, Europa.
One Europa, there was one somewhere else, and people were thinking for a long time that it was Praedit. That it was actually Praedit.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently it's Asher.
Yeah, because it beeps in Morse code, and it says assistant.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about the actual season as opposed to the seasonal model and the Destiny live service model. So, the season as a whole, we got the override missions. We had we'd 4 altogether. We'd 1 on Europa, 1 on Earth, which is the newest one. We had 1 on the Tangled Shore, and we had 1 on
Moon.
Europa.
The Moon.
Oh, Moon.
The Moon,
yeah, sorry.
which I forget. So we had 4 different ones.
It was so long ago, Stephen.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing them and I couldn't remember. But we had 4 different ones, and it was a fun activity that it was clearing ads, and then it sends in bigger ads, and you clear them. You do several waves of that, and then you end up getting sucked into the Vex domain, and you fight a boss. There was 1 of 3. There was 3 different bosses. But I thought what was great about the activity, that it didn't make you drive halfway across the planet the way the Season of the Chosen one did, which is what I didn't like about that one. I enjoyed the activity, but then there was these big gaps of just drive to the next place. Like, for fuck's sake, do I really have to just get on my Sparrow? Whereas this one felt more compressed into a smaller area, but it was still long. But what was great about it was it gave you good rewards at the end. That you got a minimum of 2 or 3 legendary items, and that was seasonal armor. That was a lot of the time you got good rolled seasonal armor. You had good weapons. The shotgun, the slug shotgun was okay. Rifle. The auto rifle is going to be everyone's go-to for the next while, because the Chroma Rush auto rifle is fantastic with fantastic perks, and it looks great and it plays great. It's fantastic, and it's anti-barrier auto rifles back next season as well. So there's an auto rifle. Relevant. The sidearm, I don't use sidearms. I can't really comment on it.
Sidearms great.
Was it a grid skipper pulse rifle? Another solid weapon, and it had a machine gun. It was a void heavy machine gun, so it gave you good. Sulfur. Yes, that's the one. They all had cool names actually, but like the weapons that we could drop were excellent, and they dropped very frequently. And the armor, while it was disgusting, also you were dropping maybe 2 pieces of it per run of an overload, which was fantastic. And then we also had where we went into the Vex domain, the missions, what were they called? The expunge missions, and we had the Vex variants, and we had the Taken variants, the corrupted variants, and they were fantastic as well. Obviously, like when you've run them a bunch of times, you get right on board running that and done running it. But that was really cool. That was a really cool expansion to the seasonal activity, and it gave us lots of story, lots of stuff. And I really, really hope that we get either a raid encounter, or a raid, a full raid, or even just a strike, or you know what, the perfect mix, a dungeon. Can we have a dungeon in the Vex domain? That would be incredible, because it looks insane. Yeah,
that would be cool, actually, wouldn't it?
I actually, when we were talking about this, I completely forgot we even had the expunge stuff. Like, the expunge missions were great. So I think in terms of content this season, the content we've gotten has been very high quality, and the story has been high quality. It's just been kind of stretch Armstrong. And if you're someone who wants a lot of Destiny stuff to do, that's not going to suit you, because you're going to go, right, I'm going to play Destiny, new season's out, I've booked a day off work, I'm going to play it. And then it's like, after 40 minutes, you're like, oh, I'm done till next week.
That was my experience with, what was that expansion where they brought a Black Armory. It was like, I can't wait to play this. And then you're like automatically 10 levels below this
And you
seasonal
couldn't do it.
activity.
Unless you were
couldn't
very
do it.
high skilled, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was horrible. And this was the time when I was LFGing on console, and it was like no one was accepting you if you weren't minimum requirement of a specific light level. And it's just like, I'm so excited to play this expansion, but I can't play this expansion.
Yeah.
You know. And they're learning, but it's just like Stephen was saying. I want more. I want my fleshed out stories. You know, I want more cutscenes. I would happily pay the extra money every 3 months to get that. Like, I'd rather them not do the seasonal activities and put that more into cutscenes and story and give us those. If we got every week a cartoonized kind of that style cutscene, and then at the end of the season we got a big cutscene that was kind of in-game driven, that would be fantastic, you know. But
yeah, I'm a big fan of those cartoonized cutscenes, which we are getting more of now. I got really blurry. I'm really enjoying those cartoonized cutscenes because they give you a lot of story content. They tell a story well. They're really cool looking. They kind of remind me of just the Grimoire book, the kind of sketches in that. They're really cool.
To jump to their defense, though, I know I'm the one who said it, but their storytelling with the like having the holograms now, like where you and even just interacting with Mitrax through the servitor, and you're getting those conversations, like those voiced lines, add a lot to it, and you were getting those every week, which was great, and it was always adding something. It wasn't just thanks for killing more Vex. Good job. It was like you were actually getting fleshed out content that was changing every week, which you didn't get in Season of the Chosen. It was like, you smashed the new person. Yay, see you next week. And it was like, ugh. So while I would love more cutscenes or more stylized cartoon cutscenes, I'm really happy that they put in more voice lines throughout the season. It's just when they put in those cutscenes, they need to do like the epilogue cutscene. It just needed more at the end of it. That was it. It just tailed off too quick. The Saint one was perfect. That is the level that I wanted.
Everyone loved that. That had great reception as well.
I think the Saint one was fantastic. It was a real different. It was a brave approach to storytelling.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I don't like about those voice lines, Stephen, that you're praising, and here's where I'm gonna complain for a minute. Now, the part I didn't like about them is that you go to the helm to get them. If I got all my bounties and Lakshmi's still ranting at me like a fucking anti-vaxxer, like, I want to go do my stuff. So can this voice line keep playing while I'm in orbit and I can leave the fucking helm and launch the activity I want to go do? That's the only thing. Is like especially the final one yesterday, because after that, you may not have got that. After you speak to Ikora and Saint 14 in the tower, if you go back to the helm, there's another dialogue there for you. So, right, yeah, I was screen sharing the Chaotix, and I was like, I've already listened to this thing. Why is this marker on it again? I played it, and Chaotix went, I don't think I've heard that in my game yet. I was like, yeah, I hadn't heard it either. That's new. So yeah, there's another dialogue. I can't remember what it's about. I think it's Ikora. I think.
Right.
In the helm.
Yeah, in the helm. I think it's Ikora, and she's talking about Lakshmi, I think. Again, I can't remember.
Did she just say, bitch be crazy?
Basically, yeah. She said, bitch, sashay away. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the Umbral decoder?
Yeah, I have 10,000 of the materials that you use for decoding Umbrals.
See, I'm the opposite. I had fuck all because I only finished
them.
upgrading the what was it called?
Yeah.
Mitrax's thing last week or this week? Last week?
This
anyway,
week it wasn't upgraded
reset.
when I was there.
No, it was. Because I done it for the seal the day
it is.
before.
Sorry, it is. But sorry. Yeah, you'd done it before I logged in. You hadn't. One of the seasonal challenges was to upgrade the server at level 30. You had it to 21, which was leveled up. All the stuff.
I had it maxed. But the fact that the Umbral decoder took the same currency was kind of like I was focusing my currency on putting it into Mitrax's thing rather than buying Umbral engrams. So I felt like the Umbral engrams this season were just They drop
See,
at 13-10. I just scrapped them. There was.
I just turn them in quickly. Get whatever they give me, they give me. I don't really care.
I think it was great when it came out, but it doesn't really have a place. Like it's. I just didn't.
Here's the way to
utilize it, so
fix
that's
it.
why I asked you guys. Like I didn't.
Here's the way to
spend
fix
time
it.
with it.
Take legendary engrams. Take umbral engrams. Mash them together. If you want to focus them, you have currency to do it. If you just want to decrypt them anyway, you don't. And they literally take up one slot. There's one engram. You don't have to get special ones. They literally, you can focus any legendary engram using your decoder, or you can just open it and be happy with what you got. Actually, here's an even simpler way. It doesn't take a special currency. You do it with legendary shards because we've got 20,000 of them sitting there. Thanks, Bungie. I simplified your shit for you.
And the fact there's 2 stations to go to as well.
Oh, that's the part I didn't
really
like.
Annoyed me.
That's the part.
It's
And
like-
do you know what? That's the reason I don't focus my umbral engrams, because I have to do it here and then walk around to fucking turn it in. It's like, just let me just go to one spot.
Yeah.
It's just something I don't think of doing. I understand a lot of people like chasing specific stuff, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I've just found, and it's actually a compliment to Bungie in a way. I was getting so many drops of weapons that by the time I had leveled up my servitor, I already had the role of the auto rifle I wanted.
Yeah.
I already
That's
had
the thing,
the
this
sniper I
season-
wanted, so I
This
didn't
season the
need to
drops were
focus.
generous.
Yeah, so I didn't feel like I needed to focus Umbral engrams, so I was like, right, just turn them in. Just turn them in.
Yeah.
Because I don't focus them. I just go to the
Fine.
the what you call it, the Umbral Cryptarch. I don't know what it's called. And I just, whatever they give me, they give me. I don't focus them. I do think there is a place in the game for being able to focus the gear you're getting, so you can chase specific things. But making it awkward to access is where the issue is. Like, we don't need another currency in the game. Like, I have what, Ishtar Commander open here now. I'm trying to see how many legendary shards I have. It's not telling me. That's great. I've got 29,000 legendary shards. Now, I know I play a lot of Destiny, but I don't need those legendary shards for anything. So let me get rid of your Umbral Decoder, get rid of your Umbral Engrams, get rid of, what was the fucking currency called? Get rid of your fucking, your decrypted data, and just let me focus my normal legendary engrams with legendary shards, simples, and increase the drop rates of normal legendary engrams to make up for umbral engrams going. So you've just got only legendary engrams. You use legendary shards to. You go to the Cryptarch the way we always have, and you just use legendary shards to focus them. I want to get resilience focused armor. Okay, that's going to cost you 100 legendary shards. Great. 100's probably a steep price, but make it less. Like
We know
20,
next
20.
season we're going to get a new currency. We're probably going to get 3
Oh, they
new
love giving us
currencies.
currencies. But it's okay, because they're taking one away.
So, speaking within that topic, then, and we kind of touched on it. What do you think of the weapons this season? Then
They were great.
Fantastic. They're the
And-
most utilized weapons, I feel. Sorry, Kev.
Sorry, yeah.
It's just like I love using the seasonal weapons each time they come around, because it was when Recluse was at its fall off and everyone was like, there's no replacement. There's no replacement of that caliber, but there is a lot of weapons that are just as good. The 7th Seraph was prime example of one. The submachine gun, the Epilogue SMG. Like there's replacements for weapons. People just have the attachments, which is fine. I'm like that with certain weapons. But this season really reiterated that they want you to use new weapons, and by making, I don't think one of them was bad. Like, I didn't like the LMG, but that was just personal preference. But like Kev was saying, the auto rifle was great. The sidearm, I like using sidearms, was great. The shotgun was great. There wasn't a fusion rifle.
I didn't use the
Hand
LMG
cannon.
because I had a reconstruction LMG from Deepstone
Yeah,
Crypt.
from the
that was
Deepstone.
also void element, so there was literally no point using it.
But that's a prime example of, we already have weapons like to fit that slot, but
It's just better.
these weapons were just as good, but it's just we have the perfect rolls on the old ones, which is fine. but at the same time, there was a lot of good introductions this season.
There were nice designs. You can really see with the in-engine improvements they've made. Like all the gears looking fantastic. But just to say, like we had the override, the seasonal weapons we'll call them, which was the Chroma Rush and the LMG and the sidearm. But we also got refreshed Future Warcult weapons. We got 2 new Iron Banner weapons with the Reese Walker, which everyone wants. And this guy got a god roll when I was logged into his account. And you had the Archon's Thunder, I think is the LMG from Iron Banner. And we also had the Vaulted Glass weapons. So we had 5... Okay, one reprised lot of weapons, obviously, from the Future Warcult. But some of them are decent. But we had loads. There was so much gear to get this season. That... I'm kind of worried about next season that if there's obviously not a raid, but we are supposed to be getting a dungeon, so hopefully there's some weapons there. Actually,
King's Fall, I'm gonna riot.
Isn't I thought I read somewhere that it might have been in a leak. Actually, I don't really want to say it. Then that Prophecy dungeon is getting more weapons added to it, but I could be wrong.
No, I think
was that confirmed?
did they not?
That they're getting
the
trials, the original trials of the 9 weapons. Maybe. Yeah, that could be a leak. I apologize if it's a leak. Sorry, don't ban me.
But yeah, like the weapons this season have been like, so look at the seasonal weapons from the override. Like they were fantastic. Like I love my Chroma Rush with Heating Up and Rampage. It's fucking
Heating
great.
Up Rampage is a weird role to have. I have Subsistence Rampage and it's amazing.
I have a Subsistence Rampage too, which is my go-to. But the Heating Up
Rampage,
80
bullets. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's so good, and then the Grid Skipper is pretty good. Like I love pulse rifles, so that's a pretty decent pulse rifle to have. Yeah, I do. Yeah, but for me, it's the Bog weapons. Like having Fatebringer back, it's so nice having a hand cannon again that I can use in PvE that actually does damage. And then they went and buffed all the Ace of Spades and all that in the middle of the season, so like using that again in PvP feels really nice.
Yeah, Ace of Spades feels nice again. To an extent, so, there's a range. At a particular range, it's just kind of like I'm getting outshot by a fucking auto rifle. Come on, but yeah. Other than that, it does feel nice.
So it feels refreshing to have a good loot pool, good seasonal weapons. And then some good reprise weapons that aren't like the Vogue weapons are great, but like the seasonal weapons are just as good, you know. And I feel like that's probably why we didn't get an Aetion's Epilogue, because we got a Chroma Rush. Like I would have loved to get.
I think the reason we didn't get Aetion's Epilogue was because that archetype of auto rifle just doesn't exist anymore. But it would be nice that like I think that's the way that they could actually keep Vogue feeling a little bit fresh next season. Bring in the 3 or 4 weapons that we didn't get. Yeah. Bring in Aetion's Epilogue and just make it a different archetype. Just rework the weapon. Bring in the pulse rifle, Parade its timepiece. Bring that back in.
Yeah.
Bring in an ornamented armor set or a slightly different armor set for the master version to make people want to do it. Because at the moment I'm looking at it going, once Dill has gotten his 5 weapons or 6 weapons, there's no reason for me to do it. I might as well just do it in a normal version because I get the same drops, the same gear, and it's quicker.
Yeah,
that'd be a good way to introduce challenges next season. Put those weapons as the challenge rewards, like the Aetion's Epilogue and what was the?
I don't even think they need to do that though. Like, they could just refresh it in the next season by giving you those weapons, and then maybe you lock some of the older weapons in the challenges so that people feel like, okay, well, if I still want to go back and get my. So maybe Templar, they take out your Fatebringer and put in an Aetion's Epilogue, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Or Praetor's Timepiece is probably more appropriate there. But I don't see them doing that. I don't see them. No, Praetor's Foil is the other one.
Praetorian Foil.
Praetorian Foil, yeah.
So there's 3 weapons there, and they could lock it behind Templar, Gatekeeper, Aetion.
Yeah. Maybe challenges.
It would be amazing. It'd be great. And it's 3
I'd love for them to bring it all back. Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of the topic we haven't actually touched on yet. We spoke about the seasonal activity and the weapons, but they also brought back Vault of Glass in the middle of the season. And the way they've spoken about it, it's not just as simple as, and here's your raid back. They had to rework that from everything to fit in the new engine so it didn't look like total fucking shit. And like, I know the master version, the level 4 brings up a topic of is the XP grind gone a bit far in one way, and I tend to agree that they could have brought it back without putting that restriction on it, and it could have been just as difficult. They could have just had a permanent contest modifier on. There you go, it's difficult every week. But they did bring back Vault of Glass in the middle of the season, and in fairness to them, they did a great job with it. They kept it, they brought it back, it stayed true to its original version that we had in 2014, but they changed up a little bits of it. They changed up the conflicts or the gatekeeper encounter completely, but they kept it feeling fresh while not going, right, it's not the raid that you once did, it's totally different, it's unrecognizable. So they did a great job in that, in my opinion. It's a pity that 3 of the weapons got dropped out of the loot pool because of whatever reason. It's a pity, but what we did get was great, and the time lost weapons have a nice little different coat of paint on them that makes them look really nice. They shader really nice as well. And it's guaranteed perks, like the Fatebringer you get from the master version is a god roll. You just gotta get the right
Masterwork, is it?
masterwork on it, yeah.
Yeah. And like that's something that they should be commended for, because I think people were worried that they would just drop it in the way it was in D1 and they just breeze through it. It's like, yeah, you can throw contest modifier on and some difficulty would be there, but they reprised it somewhat with the subtle changes, like having to kill the oracles in the order that they appear. The gatekeeper
No way,
challenge.
no, they didn't do that. No, there's no way they'd do that. No way.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote. And just they made enough changes to make it worth running as something new, but as you said, without damaging that nostalgia that we had. So I have great faith going forward that we will get things like Crota's End as a dungeon. We might get a reprised King's Fall version in some way, like maybe
The
not.
weapons were so shit though.
I want my Touch of Malice back.
No, it was shit. It was good for 2 encounters. It was shit.
Yeah, it was awesome after being stuck on the sisters for so long to get a Touch of Malice and just have a bubble titan and just go in and out.
But where else did you use it?
I don't care. That was my weekly thing. It was awesome. It tore in the Crucible for a while. Did for me anyway.
I would, if they probably will bring back more raids. Vault of Glass was received so well and performed so well. Can we have Wrath of the Machine back? Because the weapons from that were fucking great. The Genesis chain was fantastic.
That was really good. Yeah.
But also, as well with Vogue, it tied into the story.
It did.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
And I think it will. Coming into the next season, I think we might get a bit more information on why we went to the Vogue.
I imagine we'll be sent back in there like we were in D1 as missions. Like I'd be very surprised if we didn't get some sort of mission next season that sends us to the Vault of Glass to do something.
Osiris.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. So what else do we need to touch on? So we've touched on Vogue, weapons, story.
The armor looked like
Delivery of
shit,
story.
but whatever.
Yeah. Seasonal armor just doesn't do it for me. Like any season, like
No.
throw the ornaments on it.
There's always a theme to it.
Yeah, but the team is
so
cheap.
shy.
They showed off new Iron Banner tonight in the 12 actually.
Helmets look nice, but that's all. It's like they have a focal point, and the helmets are always the one that stand out. But then
it's what you look at, isn't it?
It is what you look at.
After being on Dill's account this week and seeing how full his vault is, I did a cleanup of my own vault, and I had a lot of helmets, and I like keeping helmets because they look cool. But now with Transmog, it's like I don't need to keep them.
But like,
I like the Iron Banner armor for the Titan. I don't like the other two, but I don't care about the other two. I like the Titan armor.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think Dale's right. There's always a piece in something where you go,
Yeah.
That seems to be where all the effort went.
Yeah,
And then the rest,
of it is just
the B team.
yeah, throw a few layers on. But I hate saying that. I don't want to call it lazy, but at the same time, it feels lazy. It feels like we need something. Here's the something. Rather than you want to cultivate. Look at raid gear. Raid gear always looks like the textures are so much more effort put into it.
Like the
different, the
Titan
legs and
ass
the
kick.
arms and the chest kind of synergize with each other. The plates kind of overlap. All those little fine details are noticed, and it's kind of like why, like raid gear to me is the best gear in the game in terms of looks wise.
Yeah.
But why should you have to wait for a raid to get good gear? It's completely personal, but like some people love the seasonal armor, and some people. It depends on your look and the aesthetics and stuff like that you're into, but the last couple of seasons, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, no, they're never great. Like this season's armor was all Fallen themed, wasn't it? Like the Titan
and
looked
that's
like a shank. I didn't like.
It
Could have been
bad as
amazing.
it
It
is,
could have been amazing, but I didn't like the way any of them looked. To be quite honest.
No.
Without sounding like a dickhead, you see all the concept pieces from community artists of armor and stuff like that, and you're kind of like, take that, just literally just. I remember when Vogue was coming around, people were doing reprisals on armor, and it's just it looks so good that you're kind of like, not saying the fucking artists and creators in Bungie are any way below par. They can do things that I wouldn't even dream of doing, but at the same time, it's kind of like have a standard, stick to that standard.
Yeah,
it's just my opinion.
I think that's a fair complaint because I think seasonal armor has consistently been
poor,
terrible. Yeah,
and that's another annoying thing because we know resources are limited, we know money is limited, and it's when you see efforts going in directions that you don't necessarily have an interest in that you're kind of like, take that and put it into new weapon ornaments, new exotic ornaments, give us like the ability to fucking shade weapon exotics, all those kind of little things, you know.
But you see it going into the Eververse, and that's the part that's frustrating. Like, not that the Eververse stuff is above and beyond, but like
last season it was great.
Yeah.
The armor sets were lovely because they were zodiac signs. They were the zodiac signs.
Yeah, and that's kind of heartbreaking to see. Like, I can't get this without buying it. So you put in the effort, you can grind all you want. Like, no, until you give me your ATM card.
No, not necessarily, because you can get it with Bright Dust.
This was my argument for Pokemon Unite 2 hours ago.
You just gotta wait.
You can earn it in the game.
Yeah, no, you can earn it. You can get Bright Dust in game, and the seasonal challenges give you a shit ton of Bright Dust. But it is more so the case of it's new and shiny, and if you buy it this week, you're gonna be the only one of your friends that has it.
Yeah. Fuck that.
This season was really good in terms of the store rotation for Bright Dust and Silver. It did really feel like it was only a week in the difference of you can have this, but you know next week's coming up as.
I'm sitting on a nice pile of Bright Dust at the moment. I'm looking forward to spending it next season. Seasonal challenges give you a shit ton of Bright Dust. They really do.
Actually, that's another thing. The seasonal challenges, like, I tend not to pay a lot of attention to them, but I felt like a few of them, like more than the last season, got done in the background if you just did your overrides and you did a few extra.
You know what? Actually, that's a good point, Stephen. Dan logged in yesterday for the first time since Master Vogue, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to finish my season pass season. I'm only level 87 on it." We did one override, and he was level 101 because he completed like 3 or 4 seasonal activities and just went seasonal challenges. Just went, oh, ping, 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 101.
That's the way they should be. So it should complement your gameplay.
Like, and I'll say I'm gonna just round it up. There was 75 seasonal challenges this season. That's a ballpark figure.
That's actually, I think that's it. I think 74.
70 of them were easy to complete. You might have to use a pulse rifle instead of an auto rifle for a while, or you might have to play.
Ones are fine. Yeah,
most of them were fine. Like, you might have to do 6 strikes over the course of a season, and this week you're gonna use solar, or next week you're gonna use air, and those ones are fine. It's the get 16 rank ups in Gambit, get 16 rank ups in Crucible. they need to go. It should be I don't know, complete 10 games of Crucible or 4 games of Gambit or 4 strikes. So it's like you get a choice of what you want to do. I don't like when they're trying to shoot, and don't get me wrong, I know why they're doing it. It keeps the populations in those playlists a little bit higher, and it means that. But I don't like it. Why 16 rank ups takes you like a full day of playing to get. It's a crazy amount.
And it depends on your wins as well.
Yeah, it depends on your wins. And it can take a longer. Like, I looked at that Gambit and Crucible. I couldn't be fucking bothered. I'll do the Gambit one if there's a double Infamy week. But at the other time, like, I couldn't be fucking bothered because I don't want to play Gambit. They need to stop doing those long-tailed ones that force you into a certain playlist for several hours on end. The ones where it was sorry, Steve, just before you come in, where it was like kill Guardians in Gambit, get more as an invader. I got that done in one game because I went in and had an amazing invading game. I just had one game where I got 12 kills or something while invading, so it meant I got that done really quick. But I was also looking at the get 16 rank ups, and in the time it took me to complete the rest, because I left all the Gambit seasonal challenges until all of them were out. In the time it took me to complete every other seasonal Gambit challenge, I got 2 rank ups done. And I was just kind of like, it's too much, it's too long. It could be get 4 or 5 rank ups, but getting a lot of rank ups it's just fucking craziness. Sorry, Stephen, go on.
But I think this comes back to the way that the challenges work. It's really frustrating that when you do an activity or you do something like, so say you just had a week where you were like, I'm just going to play a fuckload of Gambit, and you get your 16 rank ups, and then in 2 or 3 weeks time it's like, by the way, here's a challenge for a 16. You're like, and that didn't count? Seriously?
Yeah.
Why aren't they
They should be
those long tail ones, absolutely. Like other things, like if it's, you know, in week 5, complete the override activity and kill 100 enemies with, like, that's fine. I don't care about that. Things like do 16 or like, you know, reset your infamy 2 or 3 times. You're like, why did this not progress when I did it all ages ago? Like
100%. I agree with that. That's a fair way.
And that way, then at least when it comes out, you're like, okay, well, I know I've already got like 5 of these just from playing the game mode anyway to do my weeklies, so it's not a big task.
Yeah,
but
they should. And it goes back to where we talked about it. The seasonal challenges, and they got closer to the mark this season. Apart from 3 or 4 of them are fucking dumb as fuck. But the seasonal challenges should supplement your gameplay. You may have to play a certain way for 20 minutes. You may have to use a shotgun in Override. That's fine, because I'm playing Override anyway, because it's my weekly activity. Yeah. But forcing someone to do something for several hours on end is not it. It's really not it. And I really don't want to do it.
And like, I'm just looking here, so I have my seasonal challenges up, and now I've got a few of them done. I've 42 out of 75 from just passively playing the game, which is great, because I don't think I had that last season. But in them, it's telling me there are 7 Gambit challenges to do.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's okay to have 7 Gambit challenges out of 77 challenges, because it's only 10%. But if you look at those Gambit challenges, one of them is kill Guardians in Gambit. That's fine. You can get it done in 2 or 3 games, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent. Just run in with a fucking super and you get a couple of kills. There's ones like complete 6 games and it's on different subclasses. That's fine, because you can complete that over a few weeks. I'm trying to think what else is there. There's kill enemies, I think, with something with a certain ability or certain certain element. And that's fine. Those ones are fine because it takes you maybe 2 or 3 games to do them. But when it's taking you literally 20, 30, 40, 50 games, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Even for someone who loves playing those game modes, even that's gonna go, this is pushing me a little bit.
But that's like prime example of, if you're in this game mode, you don't mind using SMG or using a shotgun because you're doing your 3 for the week or whatever for your pinnacle. Complement it. It's go to Europa and do 10 public events like randomly.
those
They're the
can
ones
fuck off as well.
I don't like. It's like
It should be go to Europa and do 2 public events. But if you heroic it, you get it done in one go.
Yeah.
too long-winded. It's just You can see why, like you said, they want to flesh out the playlists. They want to keep it.
They want to keep
active.
people in the game, yeah.
But at the same time, it's counterintuitive because if it's so long-winded, people are going to be like, I don't want to do it. Whereas if it's
Find the balance.
mid-level
Find the
to
balance.
you'll have people being like, do you know what? It's an extra 2 games than I wanted to play, but I'll play it because it's like when you're getting kills with a specific weapon, you've done your 3 weeklies of your gambit or your overrides, and you're kind of like, shit, I need like another 8% or another 4 kills. You're like, I'll load up another game. I don't mind, you know?
Yeah.
I agree.
Make us want
And they
to stay there.
They also do that with the seasonal events. So that's the one thing we actually missed was we had not Guardian Games, the other one.
Summer Games Fest. No, that was the
the EAZ.
On the EAZ,
Solstice.
yeah. Summer Solstice, yeah. And that event, it was fine. It was the same as it was, pretty much the same as it was last year.
Yeah,
it was a little bit less grindy, maybe. The armor, in fairness, looked kind of nice. I think I have the Warlock armor on. It looks kind of nice. I did until I got the full Fog set. It's kind of nice. And on your first character, it might take you a couple of days to do, but then it's like an hour and a bit for your second character, and then maybe 45 minutes for your third character. And that's great that gets easier. But it also had that bullshit fucking thing of kill 100 EAZ bosses on Prism Day. Yeah. Now, Prism Day only came around every 4th day. And maybe you were recording a podcast the night that Prism Day was on, so you didn't get to play because you had work the following day as well. Or maybe you just didn't fucking want to play any more fucking EAZ because you'd played enough to get your full armor sets done. And it could have been kill 100 EAZ bosses total. It could have been kill 300 total, and it would have been better than having to do it on a very specific day. Yeah. I know they turned on Prism Day was active for the whole final week, but by that stage I was like, I've had enough doing this fucking activity.
Yeah.
So I stopped putting in long-winded triumphs and challenges that people who want to check off all the triumphs are going to do. Stop punishing us for loving your game.
It feels like they're trying to justify the existence and the time put into certain things like the EAZ. And it's like, it doesn't need to be there because I didn't touch it once this year because I did it last year and I didn't like it. So I didn't do it this year.
It was the exact same.
Exact same for 3 years now. Yeah.
It was the exact same with you could get a shotgun or a fusion rifle, from finding the kitty cat.
So it's not worth it. And to them to keep kind of beating a dead horse and basically hold the hardcore players to ransom, say, well, you need to do these specific things. Like, it just alienates some people.
I think those live service events, like faction rallies, is done. That's been retconned. I think those live events have an expiry date, and it was about 3 years ago. So I think it's
all about the Ariana Grande concerts now.
Yeah, it's all about that. But I
mean, her skin was nice. It was uncanny.
Wait,
she's got lovely skin. But,
say that sentence one more time out loud.
Her Fortnite skin was really nice.
Nice skin. I can't wait to try it on. But
can't wait to wear your skin. Yeah.
I think those sort of events have an expiry date, and I think they are resources that have been misplaced. And I actually also think that the seasonal activities, Override was great. I really enjoyed it. But you can't tell me that the resources used to build Override. So, Override, Season of the Chosen, Battlegrounds, and the one before that, you cannot tell me that the 3 seasonal activities we get per year, that the people who make those 3 activities couldn't make an extra dungeon a year. I would much rather have one dungeon than 3 seasonal activities. Yep. That's just me. I'd much rather that. I think it means that we might not have something to do for 2 months, but it means I'm getting an extra dungeon a year. And dungeons and raids are what we live for, let's be honest, as Destiny players. That's what we got.
It's the pinnacle activity in Destiny. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? They probably could do it in such a way that you could get rid of the seasonal activity and bring it into the dungeons, where the dungeons can be refreshed every season. So like where we had your one, the Emissary of the Nine, like after Season of Arrivals, there could have been something else there where we go for a different question or something different happens, and that you're getting your seasonal content through that.
That's smart. That's a good way of doing it. So what you're kind of saying is you build one dungeon for the year, but each season that dungeon changes.
Yeah, it has a refresh.
It has two
Add
different.
menagerie,
It has two
add a
different
new
bosses.
whole phase, that kind of way.
Yeah.
I like that
Something
idea.
like that.
I like that idea.
And now that we have Vogue back, and it could potentially be a simulation and all this stuff, like, why not utilize that space now and put in like a dungeon within Vogue where that's your seasonal activity for, okay, if it was this season and next season, that would have made sense. And what we're doing is you're working towards, maybe Coria is the master of that, and each week you're doing an activity to try and break that down and get there towards the end to Witch Queen, rather than Override and whatever the new seasonal activity is going to be.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
I just feel it is a wasted opportunity. Like, instead of giving us seasonal activities that, let's be honest, nobody really wants to play it week in, week out for 3 missions, or it loses its playability after so long because of that. Give us, like, what was the last dungeon, Kev, that you played like 176 times or something?
Prophecy.
Who still plays that now? Like, what's the point in playing that?
At the moment, not a lot apart from the get if you haven't got the gear. Apparently, it's getting some sort of refresh next season, with weapons and gear, hopefully.
But that's just like prime example of that activity. Obviously, took a lot of resources to make and a lot of time, and it's just sitting there dormant for.
They could cycle
the hardcore player base.
New weapons. They could bring in new weapons to it.
Yeah, I think
change up the weapons.
They have a lot there as a basis, but they're trying to add more instead of flesh out what's already there.
Yeah, and actually, Dil, you said something there that reminded me of something good that they've done, which was in the Season of the Chosen. You had to run several battlegrounds a week for your weekly mission. In Season of Splicer, you run Override once. That is such a quality of life improvement, because it meant I didn't get sick of it as quick. I was happy to run in. Like, the first day one, Kev, you and I were in, we played Override for several hours.
Oh yeah, we were up late. Are you taking the 25th off?
I'm not actually, no. Fuck. This was life coming at me on the 25th onwards. But like, that was such a big
roster.
But that was such a big improvement to go from having to do 3 seasonal activities a week to get that little bit of story, to now doing it once and getting a good bit of content. So that, like, props to Bungie for that. That was a good change.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
25th.
Nice.
I'm gonna ask for it off tomorrow when I log into work and have 100 emails because I was off for 4 days this week.
Nice.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I don't know. Is there anything else on Season of Splicer?
I think that's probably most of it. Overall, I think it was a very good season. It was the best of a bad bunch, but I think it was still the best one they've done in terms of the smaller seasons, and I think they are getting closer to making it fun in those smaller seasons. I would still much rather a big story drop where we get Witch Queen in January, say, and then I'd be happier not getting anything for 6 months after that, and then getting another Witch Queen, and then nothing for 6 months, and then another Witch Queen. But that's not the world we live in, and they're never going to do that, because this is what Destiny do, or Bungie do. So I enjoyed the season. I think if you take Vault of Glass out of that, it would have got boring very, very quick. But having a new raid to do every week, so organizing those raids on every Tuesday to do it every week for the first 6 or 7 weeks, it was great because it kept that routine going of going into Destiny, do a raid, and having the raids is what really keeps the game going longer for our group anyway. I know other groups might be different, but raiding is what keeps our group going. So Vault of Glass definitely helped that. I have concerns for my Destiny attention span from the 24th of September onwards, I'm going to say. I think the first month will probably be fine, but not having a raid to keep us entertained will be challenging. There's probably a dungeon coming next season. I'm pretty sure they said there's a dungeon coming next season. So at least that'll keep the attention for quite a while. But I won't be doing 100 of the next dungeon like I did 100 prophecies. I just won't be. I'm gonna if it's a slow Destiny season, and I know I'm droning on a bit here, but if it's a long season and if it's gonna be a slow season, I'm gonna be playing as many other games as possible.
Yeah.
Especially at the moment with just getting the dog. Me having that door closed for prolonged periods of time isn't ideal, and me playing Destiny with that door open is definitely not ideal. Because I like to talk a lot playing Destiny.
You were loud.
I'm loud. I take the lead position on the team, so I'm the one doing a lot of the comms most of the time. It's the job. It's what I enjoy doing, and no one has told me to shut the fuck up in a while, so I'm not going to. So me doing Destiny stuff all the time at the moment isn't great. So if I can chill here and play Death Stranding, I need to still play that game, or sit here and play True Horizon on my PC now that I have this nice TV screen right here. I'm going to enjoy that because I know once Witch Queen comes out, Destiny's going to become the focal point for quite a few months, and I can't wait for that. So yeah, season of Splicer gets thumbs up from me. Maybe one thumbs up and one thumb sideways, but it gets one thumbs up anyway. I enjoyed it. It was great having Vog back. I appreciate both of your I'm not going to say complaints because that's not critiques. I appreciate both of the criticisms that you guys have of it, and I agree with a lot of them as well, but otherwise I thought it was still good.
Yeah, look, I think
I'm just a bunch of shield sauce.
Overall, I think it's been a really good season. Story has been fantastic. Weapons were phenomenal. Getting Vogue in the middle was an unbelievable boost. But like, I play Destiny as I play most other things. I'll play it and then drop it as soon as I'm bored, or if I'm like, right, there's like Master Vogue didn't interest me. It's like, that's for me, that's too stressful. It's not enjoyable.
I'll do it next season when I'm 10 levels higher.
But even then, I probably won't. Like, because
you
as you said, all right. Well, anyway, but I take the approach of like, when a game hasn't got enough for me, I just walk away from it, and I don't have any kind of quarrels with that because I paid my fee to the game. I felt like I've gotten what I want, and Destiny has always been a game where I never walk away going like, Jesus, I'm never buying that again. I'm always happy in some respects, so I'll keep paying for it. And a lot of people have a toxic attitude that they just won't walk away, and like, oh, you have to keep me entertained. Like, just walk away. And I'm glad to hear you say you'll probably take a break after that, because we've got Kenya coming up. We've got a few games coming up.
You know what's funny though? I actually said this to Louise today. The thing I'm most looking forward to in gaming right now isn't the new game coming out. It's a mod for a game. Sky Oblivion. Yeah.
But that's the point, is that we need those big content drops at the start, because then people can break away from the game going, I'm cool, I've gotten what I want. And they go off and do their things and play their own games, and that's where Destiny should go, but it's not.
That's
but
healthy.
Anyway,
that's called being healthy. It's having a healthy relationship with Destiny. And a lot of the community don't have a healthy relationship. By the way, that's not just a Destiny thing. There's plenty of people that play Apex or play...
The Destiny community, let's be real, are all assholes.
The Destiny community are very vocal when they're unhappy about something, as opposed to other communities that just go, well, you know what, I'm not enjoying this right now.
Stop playing this for a
I'm going to go do something else for a while because this doesn't do it for me right now.
I'm going to play it and hate it and make sure everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go thumbs up and then like 85% on the other one. So I really enjoyed it. Loved the story. Loved the elements of racism coming in now, seeing some kind of real world shit that's going on being brought in.
There was a lot of social politics. I don't know if that's the correct term to use, but it was real society stuff was brought in. And dealt with in a very subtle but clear way.
Also dealt with in a very realistic way, in that, like, in a democracy, leaders don't suppress the dissenting voices. Like, when you have Lakshmi talking completely unrelenting, you don't hear the Vanguard cut in until one point where it borders into inciting violence, and they go, no, this isn't right. And that's the way it is, and that's the reality that we live in. So for them to go, like, they could have gone the opposite way and just made her completely bonkers, and the Vanguard being, this person's a fucking... They didn't.
I'm glad they didn't.
Exactly, because it would have come off then as like social justice warriors and all this. They handled it very well. Really delighted with it. Love the story. Do.
It was my favorite season over the last. It was probably my favorite season. I don't like seasons. This was the most interactive story wise, compared to getting the expunge getting override and the expunge. Like, only last season we got the
Presage.
What was the mission? Presage.
Presage.
That wasn't really soloable unless you were really, really good. Expunge was soloable,
Yes.
which made it that much more appealing. A lot of story arcs were formed. I hope we get answers soon. But I'm kind of apprehensive about that. I'm just being pessimistic.
And
about
you know what?
Because...
I don't think it's been pessimistic. I think that's
experience.
It's from experience. It's been I've been burned by bun. That's probably not the right way, but they've been building up this story and this story and this story, and they will all converge at some point. But it's taken a good Marvel 10 years to get
to
there.
temper my expectations now.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to do in the story game, because I don't want to keep saying it, but I love Destiny for its story. I want to be engrossed in the story as much as possible. I don't want to have to wait 3 or 4 weeks for the next part of the story. I've hyperfixation. If something's not dealing for me right now, I'm gonna move on to the next thing. You know, I don't like sitting around and waiting for something to happen, like, story wise. But yeah, I think this was most played this season. Vogue coming back was fantastic. I want to say nostalgia, but I didn't play it a lot in D1, but it was there. I've played it. It was semi nostalgia for me. Yeah, a lot of good experiences this season. A lot of bad with the XP fucking farming bullshit, but I didn't get too bogged down about it. I just went and played other games and had fun, then came back and played the story, and it was fine. It's not turning me off to play.
And still got your master done.
Still got my master done. I'll still pre-order the fucking Witch Queen Premier Deluxe Collector's Edition, whatever they want to call it this time. Once it's not a water bottle, but
I'd rather a water bottle to a bag.
Bag and a water bottle.
A bag that is a water bottle. You fill your bag full of water and.
Yeah, the season had a lot going for it. The weapons obviously were a nice cherry on top. That the fact that they're useful. The mods really complemented them as well, being auto rifle barrier and stuff like that.
I'm gonna miss Breach and Clear.
Sidearm or unstoppable sidearm.
Yeah.
Unless we get Oppress of Darkness back, I'm gonna miss Breach and Clear.
Yeah.
I think I would be interested. I'd be interested to know what our conversation would be if Vogue hadn't come back.
I still would be the exact same. Because for me, Vogue was nice to have, but for me, and I'm like Dale in this case, the story is what I'm really, really buying into at the moment, and I really dig the story. And what probably would have happened to me is I probably would have fallen off the radar sooner. Had just logged in to do my story and not hung out in the Discord as much. Like, there was probably 4 or 5 weeks where I was in doing the weekly raids. That wouldn't have happened. But to me, that's normal in Destiny. So to get a good story on that was good. Maybe you would have felt different.
I would have. I 100% would have felt different.
Yeah.
I love Destiny. I probably play Destiny the most out of us three.
Oh yeah.
In the last year anyway, I have. I know Dale used to play a hell of a lot. You used to chase all the seals and all the triumphs, whereas you kind of have fallen off that.
Seals, look.
Yeah, all the seals.
That is cool. I noticed that.
You can have my Fate Breaker one if you want.
I already have one.
Your Fate Breaker one. The new one that just came out.
No, I have Fate Bringer.
But yeah, no. If it's your vault, no, your vault is 500 out of 500. if without like, sorry, to loop back around, I still would have enjoyed my stuff in Destiny this season, but when I have that end game thing to chase, that's what makes the seasons good for me. So it's having a dungeon, or having, in this case, a raid. And having a raid in the middle of the year, not just with the big expansion. Like, this has been the best year of Destiny for me, despite it being the pandemic and stuff being delayed and moved around. Having a raid, and then a raid now, and then probably a dungeon next season. That's what I play Destiny for, is that end game PvE content. And when that end game PvE content is good, it's when I enjoy Destiny the most.
It's having something to push for. Like, I'm the same, Kev. I don't mind doing the crucibles and the gambits and the strikes when you have something to attain.
When you're aiming for something, yeah.
Aiming for an XP boost isn't for me, but aiming for a raid, aiming for a dungeon, having that end product of your grind, you know.
I wouldn't be surprised if the artifact level went away with Witch Queen. I really wouldn't. I think there's.
I really hope so.
I think there's enough of a pushback at this stage that having the level up 10 levels to be pinnacle level to do the raid, that's enough for a mid-season for a mid-season thing. Or I know me and Steven spoke about it, I think, in Discord or over WhatsApp, that the artifact level should have up. There should be a maximum artifact level. That when you get plus 12 in your artifact and you unlock that final row of mods and you've got the last mod, your artifact should stop at that level for that season. Because then they can build the content for that season around that maximum level. Whereas VOG was built around people who were level 220 or 230 on their season pass. And most people aren't going to get to that level. Now, I know you can talk, and this is as someone who was that level, you can say, well, we want something there for the hardcore people. You can have stuff for hardcore people without there having to be a time commitment, a massive time commitment to get to it. If you weren't playing the game quite a bit before Master VOG came out and doing your pinnacles every week to get the maximum pinnacle, and then doing enough XP stuff to get to a good artifact level, which was plus 21 was where you wanted to be. If you weren't that level, it was difficult to do. And while I think there needs to be stuff for hardcore people to do, having it behind an XP / time grind isn't the way. It isn't the way. Like, the way the hard mode raids used to work, or day one raids, for example, work, is that if you're skilled enough, you will complete it day one. Then contest goes away, and the rest of the people can do it. I think the contrast between raid contest mode and normal raid, I think that's too wide a gap. I think the normal mode needs to be closer to contest in terms of the challenge and difficulty. But I think there's a better, if they are going to do master version raids or hard mode raids, which I hope they do, by the way, because having that hard challenging content is great. There needs to be an appropriate reward to go with it. That lasts longer than 5 weeks, by the way. But get rid of this fucking XP bollocks, because it's old news at this stage. It's kind of weird. We had it in Destiny 1 where it was XP, where you were leveling up and you got the armor. You XP to 24, and then it was grind to get from 24 to 30. They went away from that at the start of Destiny 2. A little bit early, but in Destiny 2, they went away from that grind. And then they've brought it back in again. It's just like, make up your fucking minds. Like, you know what we don't like at this stage, and we don't like artificial grind. Because the leveling up a character it's not real content. It's artificial content. Now, going up 10 power levels through pinnacle gear, that's okay, because you do it naturally over time. And being, just to throw numbers out there, being 12, 16 as opposed to 12, 20 isn't that much of a gap in terms of damage input and damage output. But then having to grind 10 million XP to get up a certain level, it's not the right way to do it. It's just not.
Nope.
And then
it's not player friendly.
But what leads me, the sour taste for me, is that it gets reset at the end of the season. So it's like, so all that stuff I've done just gets deleted. And because it's weird, we're going into next season where week 1 we're not going to be able to do Master Vault Glass because we're going to be 20, we're going to be 12:20 instead of 12:40. So for the first week, we're going to miss a week of Master Vogue because we just won't be leveled enough to do it, which is kind of crazy. Which is kind of crazy to me. It's like
we're dropping.
Yeah, because we're dropping. Like I'm dropping. I'm going to 26 levels, 24 levels. I think I'm dropping. Now I know week 2 I'll probably have gotten 4 or 5 power levels back, and I'll be plus 12 on the artifact again, so I'll be back up to close to 1240. But it's just a bit. It's just weird to me that it's that way. I think it might have been a bit of an oversight. I don't actually think they've thought about this really, but we'll see. But it forces people to do bullocks. It forces people to do bollocks. Like set up a macro and go into Shattered Throne with a fucking with a bow to XP farm, and it's the wrong thing. Like you shouldn't have to. And it was the same with the forges when the farm was out for the engrams.
Oh yeah,
like it's for having endgame content behind the grind. A time grind forces people to do things that they don't want them to do, and I think they need to look at that themselves and say, right, you know what, having it behind a bit of a power grind, the day 1 raid that you have to get up to, it's at a certain level, that's okay. It's at the maximum level of the last season, which is fine. But having it behind this big 10, 20, 30 hour time grind, it forces people to do the wrong things, and I think that needs to be looked at. And that's from someone who plays a shit ton of Destiny and doesn't have an issue with those levels. I still don't like doing it. I still don't want to be doing it. I just want to be enjoying my time while not looking at this number ticking up to 2 million or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, look, I won't harp on about it. I agree with everything. I just think it's disrespectful to people's time.
Yeah.
That's
it is. It doesn't need to be a thing.
No.
100%.
So, did you do your wrap up, Till?
Yeah, yeah, it was my favorite season. I'm happy with it.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I hope it goes in this direction, continues in the same way, and not just dips off like other seasons have.
Did we get your thumbs up? I don't know.
I can't do a thumbs
Bill's
up.
thumbs always up.
That is literally as far as I can thumbs up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll accept that.
Same on this side. It doesn't go up any further. So I'll give you 2. That counts as 1. Superstar cripple.
For what it's worth, I didn't put together news this week because I was sick. I wasn't
abandoned. Abandoned.
Abandoned was supposed to come out. So Abandoned is the blue box conspiracy bollocks. Just to quickly touch on it, it was supposed to come out on Tuesday. They had issues, a bug apparently that they're trying to fix, and they're still trying to fix it. It was supposed to come out at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday, so pay attention to the 2 a.m. our time this morning, coming up in 5 hours time, because if it's a Hideo Kojima game, Steven just reacted to something.
Oh, hold on, before I fucking say anything, is this... Ooh.
Hold on.
No,
the only news really that I have this week is Skyblivion got a new update for it's what you call it, developer diary update, and that is looking lovely. So I am very excited for Skyblivion, and I hope it comes out next year. I'm quite optimistic we might get something. I actually tried to sign up to help out with that project a while ago, but they weren't doing it. It was complicated stuff they needed people for, which I'm not qualified to do. So when playtesting comes out, I'll be all over it.
Never mind. No, you're fine. Stupid Alex fucking Maluka got me hyped for no reason.
Don't know who that is. Right, yeah, so that's really it for this week. Rebel Galaxy is free on the Epic Game Store. It came out like 10 years ago if you want to get it for free.
You get a free Pokemon Unite, and that's what I'm going to go play now while I wait for...
I'm going to go walk the dog and get a curry.
Back for Blood beta. Open beta starts the 16th. It's the only other thing. If you're into Left 4 Dead. That's it.
So yeah, we should wrap it up there then.
Yeah.
We went on for a while there, but it was our favorite topic, Destiny.
Destiny.
This was always going to go on for a while.
We love to hate to talk about it.
No, see, we talk about it. We don't. I know we give out about it, but we don't argue
You know what,
about it.
like,
It's not like my opinion is valid and yours isn't. Type
Like
thing.
I play Destiny a hell of a lot, but you very rarely hear me complaining about it.
No, but the criticisms we have are like positive criticisms about where we want the game to improve, but recognizing that there are things that like the cutscenes, for example. I want more cutscenes, but there's a recognition that they just can't.
Like, I think it's a case with a lot of games. Like, I don't complain about games because... Oh, actually, I need to dip back to something real quick before we end. I don't complain about games because it's the case of, well, when I'm done with this one, I'll just move on to the next one. If I don't like it, I just won't play it. And it's fine, I'll move on from it. I did actually do something last weekend.
I
forgot about this.
Actually. Yeah.
I forgot about it, and I should have said it at the start. I actually saw Suicide Squad.
Oh!
And I didn't like it.
Oh! Also nice, that's your opinion.
Yeah. No, okay, that's not fair. I enjoyed it to an extent, but I won't watch it again.
I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, I could talk about it for a while. I'm not gonna get too big into it because Steven hasn't seen it, but yeah, I just didn't. I was sitting there going, right, I want to love this, and then it's like, come on, let's get going, let's go. And by the end, it's kind of like, I wanted to love it, but I just didn't, and I just couldn't. I was sitting there, I just didn't love this. I don't know what it was. I just didn't. Like, I thought there was some of the characters were good, the scripting was fine. The directing was James Gunn, like, he's grand. There was cool songs. There was some really cool choreography for some parts. It just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
That sounds a lot like me and midnight releases. It's like, I'm so excited for something, but I'm just not in the right headspace to actually enjoy it because I'm tired or whatever.
I don't know what it was. I was just like, I want to love this because it's James Gunn. It's superhero stuff. It's violent, which it's great. There's some comedy in it. I didn't find it funny at all. Like, the shark was funny for the first, like, hand, that was funny. But after that, I was kind of like, where's the jokes? It's a James Gunn superhero movie. There was no, I don't know. I just didn't find it funny. But like that, that was just me. I just didn't enjoy it that much.
Steven, Kev hates it. I thought it was one of the best superhero films ever, so you have to be in the middle now.
Like, I'd still give it like a decent score. I wouldn't say, oh shit, don't go see it. But I wouldn't say spend €20 to go see it.
I thought it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I can't put my finger on it, and neither can Louise. We both kind of left and I went. So what did you think? And she was like, I didn't really enjoy it. I was like, yeah, neither did I. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Louise didn't enjoy it because it was just lots of violence and there was not much reason for the violence. I was like, yeah, but that's Suicide Squad. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't want to say much because Steven hasn't seen it, but oh man. Yeah.
It just didn't. I didn't vibe with it.
Incredible.
I'd go watch Guardians of the Galaxy again 10 times a week. No problem. But yeah, sorry, I forgot about that because I was sick. I forgot that I actually saw that movie last week. Yeah.
That's been episode 28.
Mm-hmm.
Our discussion on Season of Splicer. Same time next week. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
Next week we'll be reviewing the
same time. That's always up in the air. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.